People message us a lot of things, and while I'm a proponent of there's no such thing as a silly question, there are some interesting questions that we get sometimes. Most of them based on completely unfounded rumors or things that they've heard, or maybe someone heard from somebody else who maybe read it somewhere potentially, but they're not totally sure. And is this actually true? Because of all of this, guys, let's go through the 8 most common myths that we have heard about the PLAB exam. If this is the first time you're checking out our channel, welcome. Basically what we do is we run a website that's totally free known as roadtok.com, and it will explain the ins and outs about everything related to the United Kingdom and what it takes for you to work as a doctor in the NHS. So if you've not already, please stalk us on all of our social media. Find us on Facebook, find us on Twitter, Instagram, and of course, YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe. Hey guys, my name's Breeze and I currently work as a doctor in the NHS. And let's start with myth number 1. PLAB will give you a lesser GMC registration, or the GMC registration that you will get after you take the PLAB exams is not equal to or not as good as the type of registration that you would get from, let's say, an exam like MRCS or MRCP. No, of course that's not true. Nobody even knows. If you open, the GMC LRMP to see the different types of registrations that people have gotten, guess what? They'll all say registered with GMC. It won't say anything else. It won't talk about the type of exams. Now, of course, it may say something like a GP or specialist registration in whatever specialty, but that doesn't actually mean anything with the PLAB exam. That's like a whole nother thing that we'll talk about later on. But at the end of the day, if you take the PLAB exam and you get GMC registration and your friend takes MRCS and they get GMC registration, it's the same registration. There are no extra brownie points. They don't get a ticker tape parade because they've done MRCS. It's exactly the same. So don't stress out about that. The second myth is that PLAB is only for new doctors. Like, you have to be a recent graduate. If you've not graduated within the last year or so, you won't be allowed to take PLAB. No, that's not true. PLAB can be taken by anyone who meets the general requirements and criteria for PLAB, which is basically you've graduated from medical school and you've completed the acceptable English language proficiency exam, and there you are. Take your PLAB exam. Which brings us on to myth number 3. The PLAB exam has an age limit that, once you hit 40, no PLAB for you. No, of course not. There's no age limit the same way that it doesn't matter if you're a new or an old graduate or whatever term that you'd like to use. There is no age limit on these exams at all. Again, the same basic criteria. You've graduated from medical school. You've got your English proficiency done. You can take PLAB. Myth number 4. PLAB is a postgraduate qualification. Guys, just like USMLE, PLAB is a licensing exam, which when you clear, you are eligible for registration. It is not a postgraduate qualification or a postgraduate degree or anything like that. You can't go up to someone and just be like, I've done PLAB, and then expect accolades or a round of applause in the sense that you've completed some sort of postgraduate training or anything like that. No, it's just something that you can take and then you can get registration to allow you to work as a doctor. So what are the postgraduate exams or qualifications? Exams that are through the Royal Colleges like MRCP, MRCS, MRCPCH. Those are all postgraduate qualifications. You see people stick that at the end of their name as a postnominal once they're done with all the exams, and that's what it is. But PLAB, at the end of the day, it's a licensing exam. It's not a postgraduate qualification. Myth number 5. If you take PLAB, you can't apply into training. All the training routes are closed to you if you do PLAB. I don't actually get that because, we've taken PLAB and we got into internal medicine training. Strange how that happened. So look, PLAB, like we said, licensing exam, GMC registration, you're working in the NHS, and then you're looking to apply for training. The criteria and qualifications to get into different training programs, can vary. But for the most part, really, when you think about it, you just need PLAB. If you're applying at a core level, at a level that's not considered a higher specialty training, you don't need any of the Royal College exams. So if you're going to apply for core surgical training, you don't have to have completed MRCS. If you want to apply for internal medicine training, you don't need to do MRCP. If you want to apply for PEDS training, you don't need MRCP-CH. Same for psych, same for, gynae. I feel like I'm kind of making my point over and over again, but I want to make this very clear. Just because you've taken PLAB doesn't mean your roads are closed and that you're stuck and you have no options left to you. PLAB is just the start. It's getting your foot in the door. Now that you've come to the UK, you can decide whatever you want to do. You can do it. So do not think just because you've taken PLAB that you're stuck and you need to do a postgraduate qualification type exam before you can progress into any sort of training. Which again now will bring us on to myth number 6. If you take PLAB, it will only let you be a GP. This is actually a very, very, very common misconception. And I want to make something extremely clear right now. Just because you've passed, PLAB or any sort of exam to get GMC registration, you don't automatically become a GP. That's not how it works in this country. There is a separate training called, guess what? GP training that you have to complete in order to be considered a general practitioner in this country. So, like I said before, if you take PLAB and you want to join any sort of training program that is at a core level that doesn't require any Royal College exams, you can do it. Just because you've done PLAB doesn't mean you have to become a GP. I did PLAB. I'm an internal medicine trainee. I've got a lot of friends who've done PLAB who are, and yep, some of them are in GP training. Some of them are psych trainees, PEDS trainees, gynae trainees. Some of them are surgical trainees, and it's totally acceptable. No one is going to say, OMG, you did PLAB. What do you think you're doing? You must become a GP. There's nothing like that. Myth number 7. If you want to come to the UK to take PLAB, you need a special visa. I wonder what that special visa would say. Would it say this individual can only be in this country for the purpose of PLAB and nothing else? Maybe. That's what I like to think, at least. But if you can come to the UK and you are able to come to this country on any sort of visa, or you're already in this country on any sort of visa that is legal, so that you can legally be in the UK, guess what? You can take the PLAB exam, and it's fine. If you're from a country that doesn't need a visa when you come to visit the UK, you can take PLAB. If you're on a spouse visa, if you're on a dependent visa, if you're on a tier 4 visa, I feel like people are going to list a bunch of, visas in the comment section below and be like, what about this visa? Look, if you're legally in the United Kingdom, you can take the PLAB exam. If you're illegally in the United Kingdom, there are a lot of things you can't do, but really PLAB is not your biggest concern at that point. So remember, legally in the country, whatever the visa, you can take PLAB. And finally, myth number 8, drum roll please. When PLAB is replaced by UKMLA, that totally means that no more IMGs can come to the UK. Like, I don't even get that, because the GMC's website, it clearly states what is the IMG guidance for UKMLA. UKMLA is just a standardized exam practice that they're going to be bringing in for the British graduates as well as international medical graduates. I've talked about it in this video. Watch the video. I mean, it's fairly self-explanatory. When it rolls out, it'll be there in 2024, and we'll see what happens. But there's no reason to believe that there's going to be any sort of that's it, no more IMGs, when they're talking about how IMGs can take this exam. So don't be stressing out about the UKMLA. Concentrate on what's in front of you right now, and when it comes into place, we'll see what happens. But I can definitely tell you, just because that exam will be replacing PLAB doesn't mean they won't take any more international medical graduates. And to be honest with you, even if it did, there are still other routes to get GMC registration, like the postgraduate exams or the medical training initiative or any sort of sponsorship. So if, and I don't expect that to happen, but just for a second, if we were to hypothesize, and that did occur, there would still be other ways for you to get GMC registration. So that was today's episode of Mythbusters, Road to UK style. And yeah, really, guys, basically, those are like probably the 8 most common ones that we know of. If you know of any other myths or any other confusions, concerns, queries that you may have, you can always comment in the comment section down below, and we'll try and answer you, and hopefully someone else answers before we get a chance to, just because they're going to be like, oh my god, no, that's totally not right, it's totally not a thing. But yeah, that's pretty much the long and the short of it. So if you've not already, please subscribe to our awesome YouTube channel so you can hear me ramble more and more, and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Subscribe to our awesome newsletter. And did you guys hear that we do personal guidance sessions too? If you're interested, maybe, yes, no. And we will see you next time. Bye.